Coming up next is a fireside chat with one of India's most well-known technology leaders. Please welcome Mr. Deepak Sharma, President and CDO, Kotak Mahindra Bank. And engaging him in a conversation around future-proof banking would be Ms. Radhika Saigal, partner EY. Over to you, Radhika.
Hi everyone, this is Radhika Saigal, partner with Ernst & Young, leading technology transformation for financial services. And today I have the honor to discuss technology transformation in financial services with Deepak Sharma, who is President and CDO of Kotak Mahindra Bank. Welcome, Deepak.
Yeah, hi Radhika, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you, Deepak?
Great. I think we have all got used to of this new normal and I somehow am enjoying it now.
That's very good to know, Deepak, that you're enjoying this new normal. When we look at this new normal, earlier we were struggling in terms of surviving, and right now everybody is talking about growth, getting the economy back. So we have accepted COVID, I think, as part of our own lives.
Yeah, I think as we always used to say that digital technology and businesses are going through what we call VUCA, right? Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. There can't be any better example than that of what we are currently going through. So I think adapting, thriving, and then enjoying. I would say that is the journey that I have experienced in last 4 or 5 months. And somehow I think I've figured out that it is a great opportunity to build new businesses and at the same time transform the existing business.
Absolutely, Deepak, and glad that you say that. But while we talk about growth, we cannot forget the fact that COVID has costed world economy around $4 trillion, and it is going even further up. While that is happening, the organizations and financial services in particular is trying to innovate and survive, as well as meet new demands that is coming from industry, and with the with businesses completely transforming, our human needs completely transforming. So Deepak, do you think that right now the focus is more on cost optimization for financial services, because financial services from customer end were certainly digital already in majority of the areas, or the focus is much more on digitalization and accelerating digitalization growth or digital growth?
So I think financial service is a long-term business. And financial service always had different cycles. At times, the cycle led by the economy. At times, what we saw probably at 2008, or what we saw probably as change in technologies, business model, risk, regulation. So I think financial service, in my mind, is a very, very resilient industry. It always knows that there are things that are always changing and you can't control all those variables. I do agree. I think COVID is something that was unplanned, unforeseen, unprepared event. But then that's the event that has occurred in everybody's life across all industries. Financial service, because of its resilience, risk prudence, obviously would look at managing and mitigating risk better, looking at optimizing cost and driving efficiency better. But at the same time, financial services also looking at how the change in customer behavior, how the change in customer preference and the landscape can create opportunity for firms to bounce back and build probably business models which can be built through this phase, more resilient to probably the impacts like these. And I think that's where the digital and the technology play becomes extremely important about how you reimagine your business models, uh, not just for optimizing or transforming existing business, but also to look at future of financial service.
Thanks, Deepak. And let us touch each of the three topics that you spoke about. So let's start with cost optimization. What you think has happened in last 5 to 6 months, which was not happening earlier from a cost optimization standpoint in your surrounding and in Kotak Mahindra in particular?
So I would say it's not a cost optimization cannot be a strategy. And even for us, cost optimization is not a strategy. We are looking at cost in context to the value. And we are looking at cost in context to the priorities. So it's not about cutting the cost to the extent that you cut the muscles. You obviously looking at all the cost structures from seeing what are the wasteful expenditure, what are the expenditure that will not hurt the growth of the business or health of the business. At the same time, reallocate that saving back into areas which we think are more strategic, both from short term as well as from medium to long term. And I think that's where I would use word cost rationalization rather than cost optimization. And I think moment we look at a cost rationalization, we are questioning everything. But that doesn't mean that you're chopping things off just because cost saving has to be achieved. And I think that's where a lot of new initiatives are getting priority. Some of them are really moving fast enough, be it on transformation, automation, building new customer journeys, looking at digital platform upgrade. And I think that's how we are relooking at cost structure from a zero base.
Excellent. Movement to cloud, has that picked up?
A cloud is something that was always a strategy. And I always believe that you cannot have new strategies just because you are going through the current turbulence. Some of the strategy takes much longer to build and then run on. I think cloud is something that we embarked a few years back. All we are now looking at it is the cloud 1.0 was to see what you could move to cloud. Today, I think we are all realizing there is a value of your own data center and there is a value of cloud. The question today is how do you build a hybrid cloud or a multi-cloud environment rather than just saying I need to move to cloud. The second thing that is now accelerating is how do we ensure that all our applications are cloud ready. So right from looking at Dockers or containers of how you can spin in and spin out, how we relook at probably the whole cloud infrastructure from security, from network, from ensuring that that the environment is secure enough. So whether you look at a multi-tenant environment or a dedicated instance or a private cloud, and I think we have moved much beyond initial conversation. Uh, we have started to implement a lot of our applications there. And today, as we look at modernizing our applications or looking at newer applications, the first question that we ask is this application cloud enabled or cloud ready? If it's not even a point of discussion. Whether we may choose to host it on cloud or in our private cloud or data center, that is a second question. But first thing is you want to have the choice with you. That obviously is as important along with whether they are API enabled and how the tech stack is. So I think it's no more a conversation of interest. It's actually something we have already practiced. A lot of applications have already moved there. And I think as we are moving more and more there, there is also a lot of comfort and there is a value that organization has started to see, both as we modernize legacy systems, as well as we use cloud for innovation and fast tracking some of our other initiatives.
Absolutely, Deepak. And there are a lot of conversations around banking as a service now with all these cloud enablement and open banking. So is that conversation picking up in India as well?
India is, I think, with account aggregator framework, open credit network, what we are hearing, and this whole Sahmati piece that is getting driven. I think India is moving to a formal open banking economy. That means that innovation, making sure these APIs are available for new tech companies or fintech companies or banks to manage either credit or innovation better is already there. But I think beyond what this open banking platform through account aggregator is achieving, we at Kotak, and I'm sure some other banks also have already set up something what we call an open banking platform, where we have exposed set of our APIs, which are much beyond what account aggregator framework asks you to. And then those APIs are used today either by large corporates for ERP integration or probably for fintechs and developers to use these APIs and create new products, platforms, and business case. or these are getting used now for a new category that has emerged, what we call connected banking, where these APIs get seamlessly embedded as invisible layer across various platforms. So as you are on an e-commerce site and you probably are checking out and you see a pre-approved credit that pops up on your checkout screen. I think a lot of this is also how the connected banking is taking shape. And I think all of this, in my mind, is modernizing and rewriting the future of financial service.
Absolutely. That was very insightful, Deepak. And when we speak about open banking, APIs, and the regulations, very important question and a debate that is happening right now is with people working from home is, are we secured enough? Is cyber security a bigger concern at this point in time? Is there anything that you saw in last few months where people are working from home? Any added security layers have got imbibed or any changes that has come in?
Yeah, I think as we see more and more of technology at work environment for customers in their transaction environment, it's but natural that you also will see a higher level of fraud or tampering or malware or DDoS attacks or credential stealing, multiple stuff, right? And I think it's happening around us. So it's unfair to be in a denial to say that it does not increase the risk. It does increase the risk. The question is, how are we addressing each of those? So for example, as all of us say work from home, and we are connecting through obviously official device to access maybe a video conference or banking or systems or emails. The question is, how are we protecting each of those from what else might happen on those hardware or devices that we use? And I think that's where, apart from the VPN environment, there is always a threat monitoring on the device uh, or how you access each of these applications. So I think a lot is happening to make sure that the work from home environment, right from even a secured Wi-Fi network that you're using to connect, or probably what kind of video conference platforms can you use? Where is that video conference platform housed in terms of the data, in terms of encryption, in terms of security? So I think there is a very, very high level of awareness about the whole work from home infrastructure that has been extended. Similarly, on the customer side, I think we see obviously a lot of customers are vulnerable because probably they use the device, a mobile phone, mostly in India, which probably has either a malware or the kind of apps which probably are stealing credentials or reading your data. And I think financial service being the most secure of all things that you want to run on a phone of an end consumer, it's extremely important for us that if someone is using financial service, we provide adequate security, safeguard, and precaution to the customer. And I think that's where continuous monitoring of threat, looking at what kind of new vectors of threats are emerging, educating and getting customers up to date. All those are getting done. And apart from that, from the infra, from DR, from the network security, obviously the firm keeps looking at the enterprise level security at a much higher level. I think the next thing that we are also seeing is not just in financial service, but a lot of industries. We have a lot of vendors and partners who either do development or we outsource some work for them, or probably there is a larger ecosystem, say, of payment and e-commerce merchants. So it's not just about how we protect ourselves, our customer, our employees, our systems, but it's equally important to see how do we protect the rest of the ecosystem. And I think that's where now most of our focus is, to see that how do we ensure those who are connecting through our APIs, those who are part of our network of partners, they are also secure. And I think that is one of the top priorities of the firms. It was earlier, but it's even bigger a priority, I would say, now.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of investment happening in fin crime prediction through data analytics and artificial intelligence, machine learning. Is that a focus area that you are seeing as well?
I think that's something you just can't avoid, because that's the new core, right? Just like the risk was a core, data is core, security is core. I think that is the core to financial service. And with the kind of data that we are generating, I think in terms of volume and velocity and veracity of data, what I call the three V's of data, It's equally important for us to make sure that there is a compute and a store capability is there to support that kind of probably data sets that we are looking at. And I think that's where the whole AI and ML stack becomes extremely important, not just to manage risk better or anti-money laundering or monitoring transactions, fraud risk security, but even the front-end customer experiences, right? So today when you see a recommendation engine or you look at a conversational banking bot, uh, personalization, and I think we have seen value uh, of many such initiatives that we have implemented, I would say, in last 18 to 24 months. So it's no more even a conversation like cloud that this is something of experimentation. I think having seen the value, implemented a lot of such initiatives, it's just about intensity and probably fast tracking some of the use cases within the BFSI vertical.
No, absolutely, Deepak. And the entire customer behavior and our behaviors are also changing. I'll just give you an example. My dad, 70 plus years old, before COVID, used to actually go to banks himself, okay, and had checking account, etc., which looked really obsolete to a generation like ours. But he was completely against using credit card or even debit card, though he had it was locked and kept. And now he's completely ordering groceries using UPI, and this COVID has forced him to become digital. So are you seeing a sudden increase on utilization of digital payments and the volume drastically increasing in COVID?
A lot of shift, I would say. And I think habit changes when you are pushed to a no alternative scenario, right? So today we are seeing categories like utility bill payment. It's largely moved online. Today, nobody wants to write a check, drop it, or go and pay it, right? So we have seen a category like a bill pay probably growing by over 100%. Stuff like a recharge, be it a DTH recharge or be it your mobile recharge, it's completely online because there's no other way you can recharge now. So I think all those categories where people had a choice between going to the physical world and digital. Similarly, the whole e-commerce, cash on delivery versus paying digitally, I think that has largely disappeared. You start seeing that most of the transactions today on e-com has moved to digital. And as customers started to shop more online vis-a-vis in-store, the whole behavior shift of using cash in the store or maybe at best debit card in the store to only using digital options to pay when you're probably on any e-com site is right there.
What's
And
the
some of the other interesting things I've seen, Radhika, during COVID is like we launched country's first video KYC platform. When we launched it, because obviously a regulation permitted, but second, we realized customers can't even visit a branch or meet someone to open a bank account. We found a lady who was 70-year-old. She came and completed the whole video KYC journey of her own. There are very many such cases we are finding of irrespective of age, income, demographic, that one may associate the digital, native or probably people who are higher up. All those myths are getting broken. And I think we are seeing a lot more of such things where customers are saying, give me an alternative. And if there is an alternative which works, which is good enough, customers are more than ready to try. And if that really they get used to of it over a period of time, hopefully even post-COVID, they will stay there.
correct? And eKYC with biometrics, in fact, is adding an extra layer of security as well. So that's interesting. So Deepak, what is the next big innovation that is going to happen?
There's no one innovation, frankly, Radhika. If you ask me a question, I wish I had the silver bullet. But all I would say is the way we look at it is that getting to understand the customer psychology, customer behavior, change in customer preference. That in mind, my mind drives all new innovations. And that is not about how customers are interacting with their bank or financial service, but largely how customers are changing their behavior. So the questions that you asked today, for example, if I'm shopping, would I like to see a loan right there if I want to convert that on EMI. Maybe yes, and this is what customers want. It may not look like a big thing, but however small it is, if this is what a customer values, or if I'm on a travel website, right now obviously not too many people are traveling, but say if I'm on a travel website and if I want to get a forex card or I want to get a travel insurance, can I get that right in there? So I think the moment of consumption or the moment of purchase, how financial service can get closely integrated. We will see a lot of innovation happening in that space, be it through open banking, APIs, or connected banking platform, whatever you call it as. So I think that will change the way the credit is given, the way lending happens, the way probably the transaction banking experience is rendered. We are already seeing a lot more of conversational banking bots now becoming mature. A couple of years back, I think everybody was experimenting. None of us were very sure whether people will talk to machine. But increasingly, we are seeing that as machines are becoming more intelligent, they probably will also, over a period of time, become more human. Right now, they are not human at all. They don't understand empathy. And that's where and I think this is where what we call a digital twin will start becoming a new core. That means there'll be a lot more of bots, there'll be a lot more of AI, which can probably not just do heavy lifting of processes or automation, but can build a lot more intelligent customer journeys, be it a robo advisory journey or a personal recommendation journey or a service and support journey. And I think all of this put together will create a new financial service ecosystem. In my mind, what that ecosystem will look like, it's difficult to put together, but that ecosystem will emerge around what a customer would like to do. And I think within that customer's daily lifestyle, there are a lot of things that financial service can do really well, or that's core to them. But there are a lot of things that customers do outside financial service. I think how do we reimagine, repackage all of this for a consumer? That, in my mind, will be the biggest reimagination of financial service, and that may probably have many small and large innovation as to how we will all think. But I think that's what, as I said, is an interesting journey we have all embarked on, which is uncertain, complex, and ambiguous for sure. Volatility may go away, but the complexity and ambiguity may not.
And COVID has accelerated that digitization as well as that ways of working transformation. What is one big change that you're seeing from a ways of working transformation other than everybody working virtually? Any other change that you are seeing from organizations are becoming more product centric or agile is picking up? Any ways of working transformation that you are seeing happening?
I think lots, I would say lots, because one of the things that's happening is conversations are becoming more objective and task oriented. You have a half an hour of a meeting and you know clearly what is the agenda, what do you want to cover, and what are the outcomes expected. So a lot of times in a physical world, a lot of time used to also go around people coming, meeting, some pleasantry, and then you start the conversation. I think everybody comes much well prepared about what they want to do. Second is, I think the tasks are getting very, very sharply defined as to what role each one is supposed to play in terms of contribution, in terms of review, and in terms of outcomes. Uh, the third thing we are seeing is, as I mentioned, everything is getting questioned. There are no holy cows in terms of projects, initiatives. Just because we were doing it, we need to do it, continue doing it. And I think that is a good cleanup, because when you take a zero-based approach, you challenge everything, you question everything, and you reimagine a lot of stuff. And in my mind, all of these, including obviously how we invest, the question that you had asked in the beginning about cost, probably looking at the priorities all over again, looking at the new model of developing those. For one of the things, for example, in our context, we are seeing is we are doing a lot more of insourcing. While we continue to work with a larger partner ecosystem, but we are also building a lot many more core skill sets in-house, be it in terms of development, data, design, machine learning, many such areas. And I think that is where firms are deciding what is their new core. And I think this is a wonderful thing that, as I said, while we will come out of COVID, but I think this new core, what we are building during this phase, will help some of us really fast track and move ahead at a much greater speed than probably the rest of us.
Correct. And fintechs were disrupting the financial services already. Do you think that disruption has accelerated or has slowed down during COVID?
So I'm not of that camp to say fintechs have been disrupting, Radhika. So I probably hold a different view to it. I think banks and fintechs, in my mind, they figured out quite some time back how to coexist. Obviously, there are some areas uh, where both of them may like to get involved in. Banks always had the scale, but they lacked the speed, and fintechs had the speed, and they were using speed to build their scale. For a lot of them, they see there is a value and synergy in working together. But I think there are, knowing a lot of friends in fintech, and I work very closely with many of them, I would say a lot of them are building great business models there too. And I think opportunity is there for banks and fintechs both in adversity to see how they reimagine and build something. And in my mind, I think we'll see some great businesses coming out of fintech. Yeah, some of them who are in Me Too space, undifferentiated product or category, they definitely are struggling. But I think the ones who have built good, solid foundation in terms of the business, which is not at the expense of probably cash burn or fundraise or probably undifferentiated products or services. I think apart from that, most of them will do well. And I think most of them are doing well as we speak.
Excellent. Great insights, Deepak. That was really good. If one idea or one learning that you had during this COVID period, which you would like to take forward even beyond the COVID when we come back to original normal and hopefully very soon, what would that be?
All I would say is embrace uncertainty. If you love uncertainty, you enjoy being here in uncertain times, one will end up coming out a lot more successful. And that also brings in a lot of humility in terms of accepting that there are things that are changing around us and not all the changes we really know well enough. Be it customer behavior, be it credit, risk environment, even the vaccine for COVID. So I think as we are living in this uncertain environment, how do we keep positivity? How do we keep hope? And how do we enjoy this uncertainty to rewrite the future of financial service? I think that is what I remind myself and my team for. And I would say that's my mantra for this time.
Thank you very much, Deepak. This was really very, very insightful. I am taking a lot of learnings for myself as well. And I'm sure our audiences are going to love your conversation and your insights and your positive energy. Look at the positive side of COVID and the innovation, and let's embrace uncertainty. Thank you very much, Deepak.
Pleasure. I know the human spirit at the end always wins, and we will win.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Deepak, and thanks, Radhika, for that wonderful conversation.